The views and opinions expressed on This Can't Be Adulting are solely those of the host and do not represent or reflect the views of any individual, organization, employer, or entity we may be affiliated with. The content of this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Listener discretion is advised. Yo, welcome to This Can't Be Adulting, the podcast where two guys who probably should have it all figured out absolutely don't.
Careers, money, relationships. No one handed us a manual, so we're figuring it out the only way we know how, with real talk, deep dive, and a whole lot of laughs.
I'm Herb.
And I'm Derek. And if you're out here wondering, am I doing this right? Trust us, you're not alone.
So hit play, relax, and let's figure this out together. Yo, welcome back to another episode of This Can't Be Adulting, Season 2, Episode 20.
20.
20.
Were you asking me or you telling me, dog?
It was a command.
It was a command.
But welcome back. Good to see you guys. As always.
Always, even though we can't see you, but you can see us.
I like how we got the black and white going over here.
Hey, without even coordinating.
I know. This is how it is, man.
Without
Just the
even
universe. Let
coordinating,
us
bro.
know.
Yeah.
I know.
It's fucking 105 degrees out in Austin today.
Yo, bro.
It's blazing, dog.
What you trying to say?
Why you wearing pants? That's what I'm trying to say, dog.
That's what I thought you was getting at over
This
here.
fucking
Again,
guy,
here we go,
dude.
Derek. As you saw me from the last episodes, Derek is over here on me about, having pants on in the studio.
Yeah.
And it's cold in the studio.
It ain't cold. It's hotter here because it was 80 degrees when I put the AC on earlier.
Yeah, but it's not 80 degrees in here. It's cool.
No, I'm talking about it's 80 degrees up here. Yeah.
Oh, well, I run hot though.
Yeah,
man.
you run cold.
No, yeah. I'm what are snakes? Cold-blooded?
Yeah, cold-blooded.
Yeah.
You compare yourself to a snake?
Snakes get a bad rap.
Oh.
Snakes get a bad rap.
They do.
They get a bad rap. Yeah,
Enlighten
the
me.
only reason we get a bad rap because of that book that everybody like the serpent and this and that and like, oh, snakes are
The
the
Bible
word.
too, right? The snake.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That book.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That book gave snakes a bad rap. And
That's
snakes
true.
like, bro, we out here.
Herb's here to reform Snake's reputation.
That's what they tried to do on. What's the movie? It's a Disney movie. I'm not gonna be able to think of it right now, but and they almost got sued behind. I'll have to pop it in, but
You'll pop it up.
it's Zootopia.
Zootopia. Oh, that's
Zootopia
right.
2 is the one that they.
I haven't seen 2. I've seen 1. I thought 1 was pretty good.
Malcolm Gladwell has a podcast called Revisionist History.
I know that
and he
one, yeah.
talks about. He had a series of episodes this last season called Mistakes, and one of the episodes is on Zootopia, and how one of the gentlemen sued Disney because he thought the story was literally about him suing Disney over Zootopia 1, saying that he's the one who actually created it and he got no recognition and took Disney to court. And then the next Zootopia 2 was about this snake basically taking big corporations to court and saying that they stole his idea. So that it's a good listen. It's a good episode to listen to. Again, Malcolm Gladwell's. I'll put it in the podcast here, but
I
Revisionist
heard
History.
of his Revisionist History. I've heard of his podcast. It's just good.
It's good. It's worth listening to. But so no, I'm not.
Check it out.
But again, welcome back.
We digress.
As I digress.
A lot's happened since.
A lot's happened.
World Cup.
Finally, Derek. If you guys haven't been following us on social media, I'm sure you've seen Derek in some of the clips. Have you? Yeah, we've been Derek in some of the clips of the World Cup and how much my man's been enjoying it, and I think he's gotten the
But
best of it.
I haven't posted any of that on our social media.
Oh, okay,
I don't post on our social media because that's my personal life. Now, I mean, this is we try to keep it professional.
That's fair.
I
That's fair. But needless to say, the World Cup has gotten the best of you.
A little bit, and also it's not even like I'm going out 2-3 days a week.
No.
Once a week.
I mean,
that
that's
shit
all
still
it
knocks
takes.
me on my ass, dog.
You ain't
Still
gonna get
be
more.
knocking me out. So I'm glad it's done.
Okay.
I'm glad it's done.
How would you rate the overall
It's
World
tough
Cup?
because there's so many different ratings you can give in so many different categories. Not so many, but as an event to watch and enjoy with fellow human beings, I definitely give it a 10 for 10.
Okay.
It was a blast.
Yeah.
It was a blast.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was awesome seeing everyone get together. I made some really good friends, to be honest with you, that I've never hung out with before.
Yeah.
And made those friends hanging out here for the World Cup. So I really enjoyed that. It gave an excuse to be out with your peoples. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sports
Sports has a great. That's one of the. I think while we all crowd around sports, or while we all rally around sports, as similar we've seen throughout the World Cup, is that it's a reason to get together.
Yeah, and there was a lot of money spent, and not on World Cup tickets or anything like that, but bar tabs.
It ain't
God
cheap.
damn,
Cheap.
that
It
was
ain't
not cheap. But you could also do it from the comfort of your own home and have watch
Yes.
parties from that perspective. So there was just a lot of ways that you could consume the games and not have to really drop ridiculous money like the World Cup was making people do, the actual one going to the games. Because to me, that was just, that defeated the purpose of what soccer and football was created for. It was created for the common folk. It was created for the fan, and people just got so priced out, or even worse, people were spending their life savings to go to these fucking games and travel, and it was just, I don't know, it was just insane. It was very much a money grab, as all this is.
Come on, it's FIFA.
FIFA was like, hey, this is in the United States, so we're going to take full advantage. I mean, they made like $11.5 billion of revenue in 39 days.
Man.
For just to put things in perspective, the NFL in how many months is it? 6 months. A little
September
like
to
250
January.
games. They make $22 billion in 6 months. These, FIFA in 104 games made $11 billion in 39 days.
The world sport.
The world sport, dog. Well. So, anyways, without getting too much into the politics.
That was a great event.
That was kind of, it was cool. But, we back. This is why we kind of been a little bit MIA. I got sick last week.
Okay.
That's the problem. I actually had sick last week.
Yeah, but it wasn't
we were
that
supposed to record.
But it wasn't that stuff that's going around though.
No, it's not the explosive diarrhea.
There we go.
Nah, it wasn't that. That's what everyone immediately. I was like, oh, I'm not feeling well. They're like, oh, do you have explosive diarrhea? I'm like, why do you go to that immediately? No, I just had like a head cold or some shit. I thought it was COVID.
Yeah.
Because my boss hit me up the day that I called out that night. She was like, I tested positive for COVID, and I was like, that's it then. I have to have it. I was with her the entire day. We were doing interviews at work the entire day. And I was sitting next to her across from her, and I'm like, I must have COVID. Ran out, got a COVID test. It was a mix of a COVID and flu test, and there's 2 different strains of flu. And tested for all of it.
Yeah.
New to me. Negative. Tested negative. So I was like, all right, so it must be just a head cold. I'm getting better, blah, blah. And then I woke up. I went through Friday. I was fine. And then Saturday morning, I woke up. My throat was killing me.
Yeah.
Hardcore killing me. So I was like, fuck. I was like, am I getting more sick? So I was like, I hope I don't have strep throat. I hope I don't have strep throat. It better not be strep throat. So I went and scheduled an appointment with Minute Clinic to make sure I didn't have strep throat, because that's highly contagious. And I was like, I already don't have COVID and flu.
Yeah.
Why is my throat hurting more? Came back negative. I don't know. Just being a little bitch, I guess.
You ain't got no man. What's the kissing one that used to get in high
Mono.
school? There you go. Yeah, mono.
Somebody said mono to me too. I'm like, bro, what is this? Middle school? The fuck?
You still got your tonsils?
No, I got those removed when I was 3.
Really? Oh, okay. Okay. Damn, you didn't get to enjoy the ice cream or nothing.
I don't even remember, but I just know I
Exactly.
was getting sick a lot, and so they were like, "We got to remove your tonsils."
Damn, they already knew. Like, nah, you got to get his tonsils out of there. I can look at this guy right there. Look at those luscious lips. He gonna get him out of there. Get him out of there. Take them tonsils out.
This guy.
Before he gets them to all our little kids running around.
This guy.
Okay. Well, Derek was out a little bit sick. Glad to see you.
But we back. We back here live.
We're
back here live with a new episode. Herb, what you got for us? This is Herb's idea. We're trying to come up with new ideas for episodes. Obviously, we have a good fresh topic, everyone. But talk to us.
Yeah. So I think this is definitely my idea for this show here, and I think it just because I think throughout our show we've always tried to hit on things that are either close to us or things that we think are relevant to people in our same stage. And I think this is just one that I've been dealing with here lately is shame. And it's one that I think I've always dealt with as I've even thought about this topic and coming full circle, is that when we first started this podcast, I spoke a little bit about like shame and pride. And you and I kind of even spoke about like getting away from asking people like, hey, what do you do? Or what do you basically ask people, to decide what their worth is. And I think coming full circle, full disclosure here, but the boy back out here on the job market again. So I was like going full disclosure and coming back to like, this is the same feeling I had when we almost started this podcast. And it was like, I just really wanted to hone in on just
the shame aspect of it,
shame.
specific shame of it.
Yeah,
because we talk about shame in many episodes.
Yes,
but it's not the focal point of the episode.
Agreed.
It's more of a product of whatever other topic we're talking about.
Yeah,
and so you want to just dive into
to what
to shame.
like what the actions and consequences and how and the way it's affects us and affects our actions and affects others that are close to us. And that's why I was like, I want to kind of dive deeper into some of the things that maybe.
This is a deep topic, man. It's gonna have there's a lot of depth to it because shame is a very real emotion that a lot of people feel. Shame is an emotion that I feel every day in my life.
And it's so funny how different things shame us individually. And it's like, why am I taking this part aspect of it so hard when other people could seem to be able to handle that? And then like other people may not be able to handle this aspect. And I'm like, man, that's not nothing to be shameful of. Why would you be shameful of that? And it's like, just seeing, you know, for me, the juxtaposition of, you know, we've had people deal with deaths. We have people deal with, you know, friends of ours deal with breakups. We have, you know, friends of ours, you know, even yourself just like dealing with professional stuff. And it's like, man, why do I feel like my shame or the stuff that I'm dealing with, I'm not able to be open with my friends and have the shame about it when they're dealing with things that are way more massive than what I'm dealing with?
A couple of things. I think that's subjective. I think that's another big problem with shame is more than likely
That's
that
true.
we think our shame isn't worthy of
Which is
sharing
crazy.
with people because we think other people's shame is justified as opposed to ours not being justified. So all things that we're going to get into, like I said, this is a very deep topic. When you brought it up, I was like, okay, you know, at first I was like, well, we talk about shame a lot, but again, it's just in different pockets of different conversations. And going into or following the theme of our podcast, like we're talking about real things that we have to deal with as adults, and how do we do it? We're not saying we do it right, but we're gonna have a conversation about it,
Right.
And we want to know what y'all think about it, right? So,
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's the first case. So, first things first. Move the mic closer to you because you always have problems with this.
Can you hear this over here? No, see, I don't want to touch on my mic.
No, move it
Last
closer.
few
See,
weeks.
because the problem is, as the conversation goes on, you start fading this way. And you have to
Yeah.
remember, then I see you dropping like this. Just have it closer to your face, man.
Here we go. Look at that. Hey.
And move it a little bit away though, so it's not like because I think you're also like you don't want to like move
We
it
on top
away
of
where
this
you're
thing.
enough.
Look at this. Look, we 40 episodes in.
You're 40 episodes in.
Here we go.
It out,
We
bro.
still figuring this thing out on the fly.
Let's do that.
Bam.
Right. So that's that. And I want to start off by defining shame.
Yeah.
That way we're all on the same page.
Let's go.
And we kind of know what we're talking about.
Up here too. Yep.
According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, shame is a painful, self-conscious emotion arising from a deep sense of unworthiness, inadequacy, or having done something dishonorable. It often involves judging yourself as flawed at your core. The term can also refer to a disappointing situation. What a shame, or the act of humiliating somebody. So very deep. A lot of that kind of resonates with me, and certainly hits hard. Does that definition resonate with you?
Absolutely. And I think it's like, I'll be interested to see kind of like, I think the one thing that I look at is like how we both, things that give us both shame and how they differ from each other. So I'll just be interested to hear. Cause I look from the outside, I don't ever feel like you have shame, and for you to be like, yo, I have shame.
Me?
I'm like, yeah.
Well,
I'm
that's
like,
crazy.
I don't ever feel like you like shameful or anything. I feel like you're pretty outgoing, especially considering all the conversations and the topics and the openness you are with all yourself. Yeah,
Damn,
I
bro.
don't ever feel like that. I don't
Bro.
ever feel like you feel shame.
That means a lot, man.
or anything to be shameful of.
That means a lot. And again, this is just this is so ironic the way that we personally think people are viewing us versus what the reality is. Like, that's the crazy thing.
Right.
I strongly believe that most of my shame is strictly internal.
Absolutely.
It's really not from anything external.
Yeah.
It's the thoughts, it's the inner self critic that we have within ourselves, and we've talked about this plenty of times before. And again, you think that the world either looks at you a certain way, and they either don't and they see the complete opposite, or the reality is most people aren't paying attention to you that deeply.
And that's the truth, though.
That's the truth.
A
Like,
lot of it.
Like, not to
Yep.
sound like you need to be belittling yourself, but like, we aren't that important in the grand scheme of things. People got their own shit going on.
That's true.
So I do want to touch on that because honestly, I feel the same way about you. Like, I've always said this to people, man, we've talked this before, and I used to talk to you about my anxiety and shit like that. And I think I would say this to you. I'd be like, man, I wish I was more like you and just kind of like not giving a fuck. And you'd be like, man, you don't want to be like me, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you don't want to be like
I'm
me.
telling
Man.
you.
Sometimes it's a little too much, man.
Bro.
You don't want to be like me
Bro.
sometimes. Because, you know, Herb, just kind of seeing him, and this was more years ago, right? Kind of when we was in our prime, going out all the time. Like, you always gave me this sense of like, literally not giving a fuck, like, and not in a shamelessness way, right? Because that's
Yeah.
a whole nother thing.
Yeah,
That's what I
yeah,
think
yeah,
of, like kind of narcissists and the influencers who are doing things for the wrong reasons
Yep.
and saying I don't give a fuck because I'm going after the bag or something like that. I don't mean
Yeah.
like that, but like to me, you just seem kind of just like whatever about things.
Yeah.
Like whatever. Like it is what if it happens like this, it happens like this. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like I'm cool. It is what it is. That's how I viewed you all the time.
Yeah.
So again, it's this, what are we seeing?
Yeah. Because I mean, it's funny you say it, because I do. I feel like I do definitely have that I carry myself that way. It's just like it's gonna be what it's gonna be. But on the inside, I feel like, yo, man, the shame, I feel like just be like dealing with me, making me to like, for instance, I get just like here recently, like, you know, we went out a couple times, or we went out to or you invited me out, sorry, to the bar a couple times, but and I only went once. Yeah. But like the other time, like, man, I could have gone, but I just feel like right now I don't feel right to be out in public and be out and having a good time and stuff. And it's like this
because
shame
of the situation that you're in.
Yes, yes, and it's because I'm just like, you need to figure out what you're gonna do next, and like how could you go out and be like having fun when you have to like figure this part out first. And it's like, man, like how, and I feel like, man, but it's affecting, like I should be getting out more, and this isn't a reason not to be out. It's like, this is even more of a reason why I need to be out and be around people, because when I do go out, I have a good time. And then, you know, you come back and I don't go out and I'm like, man, I'm feeling shame. So it's like just trying to understand and get over this, like, bro, like you got to figure this thing out, because this is not the way to be.
It's tough, man. That's tough.
Yeah.
And that's real.
Yeah. And it's like those impacts, and it's kind of like, dang, this is what I meant by the impact of it all. And I tied up is just saying, like, it's getting to the point where it's affecting my relationships with people close to me. And that's where it's like, how much are you going to let shame, and also say like shame and pride, kind of like pull you away and isolate you from people?
So if you don't mind me asking, how do you think that it's starting to affect relationships with people close to you?
Well, for one,
outside of like, hey, I don't go out sometimes.
Yeah. Like even just recently going home for my birthday. Like I didn't want to actually like go home and be around like all my family and have to like even like talk about like, oh, I'm about, you know, looking for a job now, or you know, what happened with, you know, this or that and the other. So it's like, man, I didn't even want to go home for my birthday, which is the funnest time of the year for me to go home. But I was like, man, I got to go. Yeah.
So Fourth of July's favorite holiday, because
exactly,
your birthday and you're with your family.
Exactly. So then I was like, man, but I ended up going home and I still had a good time, but it's still, even in the back of my mind being there, it's just like still feeling the shame and the guilt and stuff like that. So it's just kind of like, man, like this is really affecting, like I'm not as social.
You isolate yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want to have to explain yourself.
Agreed. Absolutely.
Or you think you're going to have to explain yourself.
Yes.
In reality, you really don't.
Right.
That's the truth.
And I know that's the sad part about it, because like if I know, like speaking with people, like again, people aren't thinking about my situation as much as I think they're thinking about my situation. But again, at the end of the day, it's just like, you know, this is all I'm thinking about. And it's like, God, going down this dark hole.
It's tough, bro. I feel you. And first of all, thanks for sharing, because it's not an easy thing to talk about. I kind of say this a lot when people talk to me about how you know, the podcast, how you do it. And I'm like, yo, to be honest with you, I've learned so much about Herb in the hours that we sit down talking to each other, but like on some real talk. And it's not even like we can't have that on our own necessarily, because I don't think that's ever been the case.
Yeah.
But the podcast opens it up, and it opens it up for the world to see.
Yes.
And it is like a therapeutic session as well.
Yeah. Being
like, oh, this is shit that I wanted to talk about, because I can talk to my therapist all day.
Yeah.
But it's different being able to talk to your boy about some shit like that.
Right.
And like everything you're saying with respects to the shame, like I feel you. Sometimes there's this notion that we have to explain ourselves to outside people, and I don't even think, and correct me if I'm wrong, for me it's not even so much like people that I don't know that I just meet out there as much.
Yeah.
But like I worry more about what people think about me with respects to people that I know, that I'm close to. The stranger on the street, like whatever, like I'd be better at giving a PowerPoint presentation to 5,000 people that I never met in my life than I would be to giving to 5 people that are close to me.
Yes.
Like hands down.
Yeah.
Because there's this, then we start talking about expectations, and we've talked about all this. That all fits into the whole level of shame, because I make up these expectations of what other people have about me in my mind, particularly close people to me.
Yes.
And then when I haven't met those expectations, I feel shame for having not met those expectations.
That's spot on.
A sense of unworthiness, like it says in the definition, a sense of inadequacy, or as if I've done something dishonorable.
Yep.
By not meeting these expectations, by the way, that no one has told me are the expectations.
No, they're not saying that.
That I just made
Y'all aren't saying that. My friends aren't saying this to me. My family's not saying this to me. It's just me saying this to myself of what I think that my friends and family are saying about me.
And at the expense of sounding repetitive, but we'll be repetitive because I know we've had this conversation. expectations. Where are these expectations coming from? Where are we? I know they're coming from us, but why do we have this in our head? I mean, I have my theory, and I know we've talked about it, but like, what are your thoughts on that?
I just think for me, in this specific moment, it's all about the environment. And shameless plug out there, no, the girlfriend, she's doing quite well, and she's had some great professional news come through for herself.
By the way, which so proud of her.
Yes,
You're fucking amazing. I've been so proud of her for so long. For
earned,
what she's doing. She's killing
she
it.
earned everything and more. And it's kind of being like, bro, like, and her and I had this great like discussion and kind of mindset of like, you know, and I think we spoke about this before. Like, you don't have in a relationship, you don't have to carry all 100% all the time. Like, or it's not always 50-50. Don't mean 50-50. Sometimes it's 90-10. Sometimes 80-20. And right now it's been a lot of like 90-10, 85-15, and it's like, man, like that part is like the shame of being like at what point do I give her the break? And you know, I'm carrying the 85, and she though I only have to do the 15. And it's kind of like that type of.
Does this have to do with being a man as well?
Absolutely. I mean, that's especially as you're getting older, and it's like I mean, again, just getting older and being like it's you know, you're not getting any younger. You need to start to like put getting those expectations.
40s,
yeah, exactly. Being in the 40s and these expectations, it's kind of like, bro, it's shameful at what point do you have to like carry your weight? And that's kind of how I look at it.
So it's about carrying weight for you. So in this particular stage in your life right now, because you were unfortunately laid off.
Correct.
We live in a world where tech salespeople are being laid off. That's just
unfortunate.
And I believe, you know, you correct me if I'm wrong, or if you disagree rather, not if I'm wrong, because I think this is more subjective. We both were with companies for a long time.
Correct.
Tech sales companies.
Yes.
I was with the same company for 11 and a half years, and I left on my own accord. I didn't get laid off.
Yep.
I'd never been laid off before. I've never known the layoff culture before. And so once it started happening, it's a shot at you because you go, wait, this never happened before, but now it's happening, so it must be me.
Exactly.
Right? Exactly. It must be me because it's happened, you know, more than once or whatever the case was. I've gotten laid off once. Granted, I quit twice. I think for me, that's a level of shame that I have as well.
Because I don't see no shame in that.
Because I'm like, yeah, because it was like I didn't rough it out. Like, why didn't you rough it out? You got a job. And so I think that certainly has to play with it. But I think deeper than when I ask the question, where is this coming from? It makes me want to take a step back into kind of how we've done a lot of our episodes, like taking it back to when we were younger, when we were kids. Do you recall when the first time was that you felt shame and what it was and why you felt it?
I can't recall the first time, but I can recall moments of
maybe not the first time, but do you remember early on when you started feeling shame?
Yeah, I could definitely recall some moments. Even I can tell you about the time of going to like a football camp coming out of high school where I did not perform well at all, and it was just like a shameful feeling, like being not performing at the level that you could perform at in front of all these people in this big moment is being like, dude, that's crazy shame. Like that was like one of the more shameful. I could just always go back to like that moment there. But I feel like that's like most of it was tied behind sports and performance, like sports performances.
Yeah, no, deep. I hear you that. So you think it was tied behind sports performances?
Only because that's what mattered to me. That was the thing that mattered the most to me for the most of my adolescence.
None of that came from expectations from your parents in any way, shape, or form. It was more expectations from to compete with your peers, from coaches in some way, shape, or form. Or
I mean, I think it was just the environment. Like, I mean, you know, my parents were pretty strict on me as far as like school. They were never strict on me on sports or anything like that, other than just like no quitting, like just, you know, be good sportsmanship. But they were never like on my performance or like, oh, you got to do this better, anything like that. That was more so, you know, shame I put on myself or the pressure I put on myself to perform well. So the shame from not performing well wasn't, their expectations weren't necessarily from my parents. It was just more so from stuff that I gave myself and what I thought people thought about me and how I was supposed to perform and how, you know, you're supposed to be good at this and living up to their expectations of what good looked like.
Okay, understood. That makes sense. That's wildly, not let me say wildly. I definitely had a lot of that. There was a lot of, I'm trying to maybe decipher between embarrassment and shame. I think they could often go hand in hand. Maybe embarrassments are like just small moments.
Yeah, I think
shame
like
is like a longer thing.
yes,
And we can always
that's how I
look
would
at
feel
that.
like embarrassing like this individual specific like I don't know incident like this slice in time where I was like shame is like something like maybe a little prolonged embarrassment.
Yeah, so it says here, embarrassment is a fleeting reaction to a social awkwardness or harmless faux pas. Shame is deeper, internalized feeling that attacks your core identity and involves a belief that you are inherently flawed. So I think for me, a lot of my shame came from multiple moments of embarrassment.
Okay.
Is really what it comes down to. Sports is a big one because I always, I mean, I say always, but for in any big game, any big moment, I always was nervous and scared to not perform well. It scared the shit out of me. And so I think whenever I didn't perform well, to your point, there was a level of shame that I got from that, from just being a really highly competitive athlete. And we both played at pretty high levels. I'm not talking about like, fucking playing soccer at the gym or some shit. During recess, I'm talking about like going competitively, traveling and shit like that. That was certainly the case. I want to say the first time I remember feeling, it was more embarrassment again, but then it did give me some sort of structure. I had always been a shy kid.
Yeah.
So already you throw shyness in there, it's easy to build up moments of embarrassment when you're just really shy. And I remember when I was like 5-6 years old starting to play soccer, and the first like moment of real embarrassment that I had, and almost shame is a tough one, but it was when we had to play shirts versus skins.
Ooh.
And I had to play skins.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to take off my shirt.
Bro.
And I was
That
terrified.
just remind me of, I don't even know how I didn't think of this, but keep going.
Yeah. So it was just, I remember being so scared and crying and then being like, what's wrong? And I was like, I don't want to do it. And it was just like, but I remember that clearly, bro. And I remember that developed this like even more shyness in me.
Yep.
And so that's that. But it seems like you have a similar story or something, or?
I mean, it just reminded me of, I told you I was a late bloomer, so I didn't hit puberty until I was 15. And before then, I like had a baby face, like, flawless skin, no complexions, imperfections or things like that. And then once I got, went through that acne phase, I got it bad on my face and on my back and on my chest. And it was like, man, I remember like being in moments similar to you're talking about, with like having to take off my shirt, and I was like not wanting to take off my shirt. And it was like so crazy. And this lasts me, I mean, I still deal with this, but like, I just remember moments of being like from 15 to 21, like when I stopped basically playing football or whatever, like being in the best shape of my life and not wanting to take my shirt off.
Damn.
And it was like that was a crazy shame that I still think about that to this day. I still slightly even just, you'll never really see me with my shirt off. Not that I wouldn't take my shirt off.
Right.
But it's not like that's another thing. Like, it's so funny you talk about that. I see you with your shirt off all the time.
Yeah.
Man, keep your shirt off.
Hey.
And I was like, nah, bro.
This is a fact.
Not here. Not here.
No, I'm not taking it off, but
yeah,
that is true. All my people say this.
But yeah, that's what remind me of this. Another shameful, and I would say that's definitely been a shame. I don't want to say a shame, but that's definitely been something I've thought about for years.
And a moment of embarrassment, and I think when we really dig into it more, shame is for sure more of a shot against your values or morals in some way, shape, or form than that.
Yes.
I think those little moments of embarrassment could build up in a certain way, because at the end of the day, all that ties back to worried about what other people think of you in a certain situation, in a certain compromising situation, or whatever the case is. Because the expectation is maybe in that situation is like, oh, why does he have all these pimples on his back and shoulders? Like, people are gonna think that.
Yeah, and it's like but it's not even like, oh, they're gonna think that. They're gonna think like, oh, you got pimples on his shoulders. He's a dirty person. He's just go down the rabbit hole, and it's not just tied to like this incident, this specific like, oh, I don't think that, oh, he just has body acne. No, he must be a dirty person if he can't be with a dirty person, stuff like that. And that was just like tied in my head, especially when it came to like talking to girls and things like that. And it was just like crazy to think that like you have these shameful, I mean, it didn't prevent me from talking to girls per se, but it's still like something I've always thought about.
Yeah, like, bro, like I've got so much on my mind just going back to like high school days and stuff like that, right? With the whole shame thing. I think the fact that we're men and the environment and the culture how being a man was sold to us. We talked about this in our masculinity episode. If you haven't listened, season 1, episode 6, masculinity. We talk a little bit about this, but let's dig into it more, because I think that's where, for me, a lot of my shame comes from. Is like, what is the expectations of me as of being a man? What does that look like? Yeah. And I'm talking about all facets of being a man. Like,
I can think of another shameful. Yeah.
Like, I'm not just talking about like the getting a job, money thing. Like, yeah, right now that's massive, because similar to you, you're laid off. I quit. I've been working part time. You know, I'm running out of money. Like, I'm gonna be fine. But there's also a level of like, I just did this whole World Cup thing. You know, I've talked to my therapist. I'm like, yo, am I gonna start dating right now? Like, what woman's gonna want to be with me when I don't even know what the fuck I'm gonna do in my life?
Yep.
I'm 40.
Yeah.
Like, what woman's gonna really want to be with me? And like, what woman's really gonna understand that, like, yo, I don't like sales, but I might have to get back into sales. And if I do, like, don't judge me too harshly, because like, that's what I just got to do. And I might complain about it for a long time, and I might hate it, but like, this is just what life is. Like, bro, spiral. Spiral, right? There's that whole level thing. But I'm even talking about like literally being a man, like from growing up in high school, seeing all my boys around me start dating at an early age and be crazy about girls, and like the pressure of like, you got to go do that, but like me not being ready. Because me just like, bro, and this is why I was a late bloomer too. Man, like, I fucking didn't have my first girlfriend until senior. I didn't lose my virginity until I was in college. Like, all this shit played into it, because I was like, shameful, like, that I hadn't done it. So when you shit, you don't do it, you push it off more, you push it off more.
The anxiety, I can imagine building up,
bro. Yo. Right, and I had shame.
Yeah.
I had shame because of it.
And that's crazy, bro, because I absolutely see it, and I can imagine if, I mean, did your friends know you were a virgin, like your boys?
Yeah, they did. They don't know I was a virgin. There was no.
Did they give you shit for it?
Some people did. Yeah. Some people did. Not like any of my actual boys necessarily. Yeah. But that's because I just didn't talk about it, really. But it was just hearing the culture, hearing the boys being like, I had sex. Well, I have sex with my girl 3 times a week. We're talking about high school. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, don't know what that's like. Haven't even kissed a girl.
Yeah.
And again, it's those expectations, because in your mind and in your young mind, you think, oh, this is what I need to be doing. I should be having a girlfriend. I should have already lost my virginity. I should be A, B, C, should, would, could, would, should, would. And it's all culture. It's all society. It's all the people that bring you around from it. And so there was a sense of shame when I hadn't had like my first kiss. When I finally lost my virginity, it was like, holy shit, like this sense of accomplishment or whatever the case is. Like, it was on some weird shit though, but there was a level of shame. There was a level of like, I was embarrassed and thought that I wasn't manly enough, or I wasn't manly like all my friends were.
Yeah. Like, I had the complete opposite of being shamed into losing my virginity at a super young age. Hadn't hit puberty yet. And I think I've told this story before, but like, basically my cousins was just this girl. We were at a house with a bunch of cousins of mine, and this one girl, and she just says the only person she's gonna hook up with is Herb. And I'm like, what? And my cousin's like, you better go do it. Mind you, the boy was not ready to be doing these type of activities at that age. And sure enough, afterwards, she did not have very complimenting things to say about the boy. I was a little bit, again, I have not hit puberty yet.
Yeah.
And I've dealt with that shame, even as I hit puberty, and like, I'm doing well, but like,
I'm doing well,
not like that. I know, but it's still something in the back of my head. I'm like,
really?
Oh my god,
you still think that?
I still think that, bro.
It.
I still think that every single time, like somebody knew, I'm like, oh my god. I mean, this ain't new in a while, but like, I just still think about those times, being like, holy shit, what if this person talk shit about me? And it's like, man, just that shame. So it's a complete opposite of, you're not, you didn't lose yours until later on, me losing mine early, but we both dealing with the shame of sex. And it's like,
that's crazy, bro.
From different ends. And it's still like, again, that's something that I don't have to deal with it per se, but it is something I still think about in the back of my head. Like, that was a real experience of being like shamed about.
That's interesting, because now I feel like we're towing the line between shame and trauma. A little bit.
Well, I feel like that's
right.
I feel like shame. I feel like shame causes trauma.
Right.
Like,
yeah, it does.
These shameful events, these embarrassing events cause trauma, and that's what
another episode we got on our fucking topic list.
Oh, trauma,
Yeah, we have trauma in there, right? Because there's different levels of trauma, right?
Absolutely.
There's big trauma, big T trauma, little T trauma.
Yeah, yeah.
And so maybe this one isn't a big T trauma, but there's a little T trauma, and that's very real.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think shame definitely leads down to that path. Well, sorry that happened, you know what I mean? But, at times like it's not like you're dwelling on it, but you still think about it, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
And
still
it still
think
has
about
affected
that.
you in a certain way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I agree with you because us is the opposite, but like I still think about it and I still deal with it. The fact that I was a late bloomer, and while I wasn't pushed into it, it happened when it happened. I still think about it. Again, this whole conversation about what it is to be a man and being manly.
There we go.
And honestly, I think that's what fucking led to a lot of my behaviors once I did lose my virginity.
Oh yes, absolutely.
And going
this
all
is
that
what
because
boys do.
Yeah, so it was what the boys do, and I didn't want to be shamed. Have shame that I didn't do this XYZ, even though I didn't want to do XYZ. And I also think that's even whenever certain things may have happened, certain instances may have happened, there was still probably a level of shame there too, because it went against what I really wanted to be doing in those moments, in those situations. Right? There's this pressure sometimes. And it's not to say that we don't have our own agency and we all can't make our own decisions. But there's certainly certain pressures that go into it. I'll even say something really, really fucking revealing right now. Really, really fucking revealing and vulnerable, man. But like, again, shame that still runs deep in me too. I remember I lost my virginity. And then there was a girl that I was talking to, and we had hooked up. This was probably several months later. And I remember bringing her back to my place. It's probably the summer of my sophomore year in college or some shit bringing her to my place. And we was going to get busy, which we had already been intimate with each other.
Yeah.
And bro, I caught performance anxiety, dog.
Oh, bro. Oh my God.
Bro, when I tell you the shame I had for that for years, bro.
Oh gosh.
For years, bro.
Oh my God, bro. That just
when I tell you that shit, I was 19, 20. Dog, I was like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with me? All these fucking conversations. There was no way I could tell any of my boys about this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But for years, bro, and I still think about that, bro. I still think about that. This is some authentic shit right here that y'all listening to.
And I don't want to go make all our shameful moments about sexual things in this.
I agree.
I've had that happen. I've literally had that happen in the most inopportune moment for that performance issue to have happened. And this was not in college. This is more recent than I would like to admit.
Sure.
And again, I mean, this was in without being too TMI, this was in a group setting.
Yeah.
A group setting.
Shit. Sorry.
And to be the only person that this would be the worst time to have performance anxiety. And this is the time that it hits me. And I'm being like, bro, I can't even fend for myself in this moment. And it's just so many. I even take this a step deeper, not to get into the specifics of the situation, but just saying it's a group situation. I was the male, is another dude, and then two females. Let's say let's put 4 people there. The other dude was a white guy. So just even adding in that, see my guy laughing at me.
I'm sorry.
I'm telling a real.
It's just the way that he said it. I'm sorry.
But again, though, even just factoring that, and all I was thinking in my head at the time, and this is what I should not have been thinking. This is where you go. I was thinking what would my boys say in this moment right here?
That's crazy.
What would my boys say in this moment right here?
Think right there.
That's exactly what I was thinking in that moment. What would my boys think in this moment, bro?
And as men, again, not to even delve any more deeper into other more strictly sex situations, but the sex thing is a massive part of what male culture, and that's a problem. And we're not saying that, oh, this is cool. This is also why a lot of men, not all could be such sex deviants. This is also why we have a sexual assault problem in this country. There's too much emphasis in male culture on sex.
Yes.
And it's hard for us growing up to not internalize that and think that isn't part of our worth.
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
To have to be ready and prepared whenever the girl wants it. Boom, boom, boom.
We talk about the 666, the 6 feet, 6 figures, 6 inches. That's what you. And if you're not upholding any of those things, you feel you're inadequate.
And when you feel you're inadequate, that's the definition of what shame is: a feeling of inadequacy.
Yep.
And so to your point, dealing with the sexual performance anxiety, all that stuff, which, transparent. That isn't my first time and my only time that happened to me.
No,
either.
as a dude.
Like, as a dude, it happens all the time.
If
people
you
aren't
out
gonna
here
talk about it necessarily. But again, for me, because it happened so early on, that has been something always in the back of my mind.
Yeah, yeah.
And to be like, all right, if I'm not performing and giving my girl what she wants when she wants it, when whatever the case is, then I'm not man enough.
Bro.
And there's a level of shame there
Absolutely,
that comes with
bro.
that. And that's crazy because I personally don't necessarily even think that it's none of my girls that have ever done that to me have put that pressure on me necessarily.
Right.
It's the culture, the society, and what I've built up in my own head about that. And all of a sudden I have all this shame that I'm not worthy of a relationship or of a woman, and, of this woman or of that woman or whatever the case is. But it's crazy.
You putting in everything else is totally fine. Like, it comes down to that one thing. And again, it's going back to like being a man. And like, I think that's what so much of this shameful thing is, that like, it's almost like shameful to be a man. Yeah. Like, that's the feeling that I've had. It's like, man, you're shameful to be a man. Like, how can you be like, how can you not have this shit figured out? How can you not, how can you be in this position right here? Like, that's kind of the stuff like been boiling and just dealing with over the last few weeks, I guess, or months.
Been marinating.
Yeah, and been marinating on this kind of like, dang, bro, like, how did and the reason why I thought about this, and I'll give my last anecdote here, and this is what the real shame. This is why, like, bro, this what made me think about like we have to do this episode, is because I mentioned I went back home to Arkansas, whatever, and I had to catch a flight. On the flight, I just happened to sit next to this guy, and we started speaking about. We just strike up a conversation, and he's a football coach at a school in Kentucky, high school. And he asked me what I do, and I was shameful to be like, I'm not I'm looking for a job right now. So I just told him, I work with the company that I previously worked at.
Sure.
By the end of the conversation, bro, he's like, hey, can I get a business card? Because we actually need to look into this. And I'm like, just send it to my personal email. Like, I don't have a business card. But it's like, man, like, the shame of not just being honest with this person and just being like, hey, I'm looking for a job. Like, it's so weird because now, throughout the, at the end of this conversation, we've built up this relationship, going into sales and stuff, but it built up this relationship to where he's like, I don't created a hot lead for myself. And it's like, I can't even actually, I can't even bite on this, which is what I would have needed. It would have been great to have, but and it's like, man, like, how shameful. Like, and all I could just think back was to, again, why did I feel ashamed to tell a stranger, person who doesn't know me, anything, that it's millions of people out here looking for a job right now, that I'm one of those. And it was like, man, after that, like, we have to talk about this.
We do have to talk about this because you also, we talked about this in season 1, episode 3, quit or get fired.
Yes.
That episode. And that's your point. That's the full circle that we're going around.
Yes.
Now we're talking about shame more as a whole, but it sounds like the whole job thing is a really sore.
Well, I think that's just the easy one for me in my life. I feel like there's things that are like, people are going to have the things that they're shameful of. And I think for me, it's always been like professionally, like this, I think that's just a thing that's personal to myself. Other people are more shameful of, their family.
They got their own
relationship.
things. That's what you were saying at the beginning. It's funny how we all have kind of our own shame. I'm with you, bro. The professional thing is a huge level of shame for me too, in the same aspect as you. Now, I do handle it outwardly differently. Yeah, a little bit more like when it comes to dating women or trying to date women, maybe there's a little bit of, but I'm very open and honest about it because I'm like, there's nothing else I can do, and like, this is just my situation. Like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I tell people, like, what are you doing?
Shame as well.
I took a hiatus. Yeah, I don't. It's a shame, but like, also I will say this, and again, maybe you're not in the same situation as me, but I do think people appreciate honesty more than anything else. And authenticity.
Absolutely.
Like, hey,
absolutely.
bro, I got laid off. But this is what I'm in the market for. Like, everybody knows layoffs are. If someone's going to judge us for not working right now, like whatever, are you paying your bills?
Yeah.
Are you good? Yeah. Like, you're good, you're chilling.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't mean that in the sense of like, again, accepting the situation I'm in right now and just being complacent about it, but just like, this is where I am right now. Yeah. It's cool. Like, we gonna figure this shit out. For me, I'm just like, yo, like, I took this time off. Here's why. And actually, most people are like, yo, that's dope. That's dope that you were able to do that there.
Right.
They don't know what my money situation is like.
But still,
but you know what I mean? But like, I feel you on that. Like I have a huge sense of shame that, and I mean it when I say huge, it's unfortunate that I'm 40 and I don't have it figured out.
Man, it's almost like the podcast. You know, this can't.
It's almost like we're making a podcast,
right? Literally, the podcast. So
almost like
being 40, not having this shit figured out, and
you're
feeling
41.
shameful.
All right,
man. Again, see, and I'm getting older, and I'm like, bro, I ain't 40 no more. I'm in the 40s. Like I'm in my 40s. Like I'm not 40. I'm in my 40s.
I'll tell you right now, bro. You're doing great. I promise you, bro.
And that'd be
I
mean, yeah.
And you got a good support system.
That's
Your
true.
lady.
I couldn't imagine being out here trying to, boy.
Your lady
if I was
loves
out here,
you. Y'all
if I was out here in these streets
Yeah.
and like this, I couldn't even come out.
I know.
I couldn't come. I'll have to, but man, I couldn't come out.
I think, and again, I don't have the answers. It's easier said than done.
Yes.
We've been unfortunately deeply conditioned for years and years and years to think these things, to feel this way when it comes to it. So it's not like I'm coming on here and telling you like, hey, Herb, it's just as easy as ABCD. Because if that was the case, I would be listening to my own shit.
Yeah, right.
But it is healthy to talk about it.
Now, I know the one thing is we've spent a lot speaking about shame that men experience. I would be interested to understand like some of the shame that women experience. And
That's a good point.
Please let us know maybe there's a common shame that a lot of women experience and maybe what that is and what some of those may look like as well.
Because I think this is also another important piece of this all. 100%, I do want to hear what the ladies think, but I think there's also a level of like taboo that you don't talk about your shames.
Oh, yeah.
And that you walk around acting all confident and everything's good
Nobody's
to go.
going to talk about male performance anxiety.
Right.
Come on.
Right. No one's going to do that, and you have to act like your shit together all the time. And I frankly, I hate that.
Me too.
I hate that. And I'm not saying, pour all your problems out into the world.
That's not what I'm saying.
But like, we gotta have a level of like, yo, if I'm asking you, like, if I ask you how you doing, I'll be like, oh, I'm great. Everything's great when it's not. Like, when I'm saying like, yo, what's up?
And I'm definitely guilty of that. Like,
Me too.
Like you ask, I'm good. You'll never know. You're just, and it's like you're just not gonna know. And on the inside, I'm like, man. And it's so funny. Like I'm doing this with the people that, again, I have a great support system. I have a lot of people that care about me. Why this is the time to leverage that. This is the time to reach out, and this is the time when people will want to be the most supportive and stuff. But even still, like having this shame of like, oh man, I got to reach out and ask my friends for help for this. Not even saying ask my friends for any help, but it's more so like reach out and like how my friends, be supportive of what I'm going through when they're going through things that I deem to be way more important than what I'm going through.
Yeah, but we don't have to do the shame Olympics. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, right.
We all got our reasons, and we all got all this, and again, it's not easy. But I think a good first step is like, let's just be honest, like with the people that you trust at the very least. You know what I mean? Like, there's certain people that I trust. Like I think I was telling y'all when we were on our way to the funeral.
Yeah, right.
I was with you, your girl, and Christy, and I was like, yo, honestly, this is like the most comfortable I've felt with a group of people in a long time. Right. And I was like, I appreciate y'all for letting me. And what I meant by that was like, I felt like I could just be me.
Right.
I could say whatever I want.
Yes.
Like talk about whatever I want, and y'all are just like, y'all know me.
Yeah.
Type of a thing. And that's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard to
be
vulnerable. Around. Yeah, I could be vulnerable because in certain, you get around people and you're like, yeah, I got to be a certain way type of a thing.
Yep.
And I will be honest with you too. It's easier to be vulnerable with women than it is with men.
Ooh.
Like that is the truth for my situation. Like there's a reason why I talk to Christy all the time.
Yeah.
Shout out to Neha. I talk to her all the time. Shout out to Ramona. Like I talk to them all the time.
Why do you think
Shout
that
out
is?
to my homie Madison. Like they know everything.
Is that the nurturing aspect of women, or
they're not judgmental. Yeah. And I'm not saying that men are, but like sometimes men. Like our boys were like, oh, like we said, I can't tell them this.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen this. Yes. And for me, even when it comes to like dating and shit like that, like I'm not gonna tell the homies that like, yo, I'm kind of a little butthurt that this girl was talking to this dude.
It sound like Drake out here.
Yeah, sound like Drake out here. Exactly. Like fucking love.
Shout out to the boy.
Yeah. But with the ladies, they're just like, yeah, I feel you, Derek. Like, yeah, speak however you want to speak, type of a thing. And I think that's just a thing that as us men got to be better at. I try to be I want to break that mold. And I would love for my boys to be open and honest about shit. And to an extent, I am with some of my boys, especially at home. With you, to an extent, I'm very open and honest with you about a lot of things. I think we've gotten to a stage where we've known each other for fucking 13 years now.
That's crazy. But
I mean, we didn't really start getting close to like maybe like 10 years.
Yeah,
which is still a long time.
Right.
So yeah, but like, to talk to like just some of even the people who I consider my boys and just be like, yo, I'm feeling some shame around this. Like, probably not gonna happen.
I feel like you and I personally are really good with this is like hyperbole, but I always consider myself like I'm a girl on the inside, not thinking on no that type, but just like I just relate more with like women for some. I can say relate more, but I could just I feel comfortable around them. The same way what you kind of saying. I think we both are the same. I think we both have good intention when it comes to like women. We actually, unlike a lot of the toxic masculinity that we see out there, we actually do care and like women. From not just like a sexual, but from like just a humanity standpoint.
Of
like,
course.
Yeah.
As everyone should, right?
But unfortunately, we see a lot of males don't. And I think it makes it easier for us to kind of like have these conversations and be a little bit more vulnerable with women. But I feel like a lot of guys just aren't willing to be vulnerable with men or women, and just kind of like everybody walk around with this machismo, like everything's great, everything's good. And again, I mean,
my shame is my shame.
I'm not gonna be the one that's gonna be like break the vulnerability seal out here, and like everybody's gonna be, in a highly toxic or highly masculine situation. I'm not about to be the vulnerable one. So it's kind of like how do you...
It's interesting because one of my pitfalls with social media is that I read comment section all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily even mean in like my own personal post.
Not that you mean just like on a post.
But I read a video, I see a post, like I read that shit.
Yeah.
Because I always want to see, and there's multiple videos that I've seen about like a man being vulnerable, blah, 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 and you read the videos and you see the amount of men that are like trying to reach out and just be like, man, this reminds me of my thing. Is like for so long I felt like I had to carry all the weight of my family on my shoulders, so I never told anyone about my shame and blah, 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 because I can't. And it's just like reading all these comments, and it's like, damn, it's a damn shame that like that's the world that we live in.
Right.
And again, it's not to say that women don't have shame. I'm sure everybody's got shame.
Absolutely.
Obviously, we're speaking as two 40-year-old men, 41, speaking about our shame and how, for sure, as men, I feel like we've had to hold it in. And it's interesting just the type of shame that we're holding in, the shame around career, money, why don't we have it figured out? Sexual performance, like all these things. Like, for me, it comes down to, am I even man enough?
Yes.
To be able to walk this world and find myself a partner if I don't have XYZ figured out.
Yeah. And it's not like I'm not shameful, like, I'm not shameful that I don't have a good heart.
Right.
Or that I'm not loving, that I'm not caring, that I'm not,
thank you.
Built, a solid foundation. I'm not shameful that I don't have those things. I'm shameful of these things that I deem to be like important, what make me who I am. And it's
a great way to end it, because we're coming up on time here, but that's a great way to end it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're worried and shameful about things that, not that they don't necessarily matter, but they matter a lot less than the foundational things on, are you a good person?
Yes.
Are you kind-hearted?
Yes.
Do you want to be a supportive partner?
Yep.
Do you want to excel in life? Of course.
Yep.
Of course I do. Those are the things that are super important. Are you honest?
Yes. Yes.
And yet here we are quabbling about things that probably ain't that important on most people's list, but this is what fucking keeps us up.
Man, I'm telling you, keep us up day and night. Day and night.
That's crazy.
But, yeah, please drop the comments. Let us know. Definitely would love to hear some of our female listeners kind of know what some of the shameful moments or experiences that our female listeners are dealing with. And then also for the males, chime in. Let us know about maybe how you deal with shame.
That was therapy 101 right there. We just said some really revealing shit.
Yo.
But this can't be adulting, bro. Authenticity, dog.
There we go.
Authenticity.
There we go. We lay it on the line out here.
Hey, dog. All right.
Pick us up.
All right, bro. Let's jump into some of these fun facts.
Let's do that.
What we got going on here, Herb? I'm gonna let you go first.
You want me to start? Okay. Well, with the conclusion of the World Cup, we mentioned earlier, one of the things that a lot of us always think about is the word soccer, and how did it originate, and why do Americans call it soccer, why the rest of the world call it football incorrectly. But here's the story. Here's how we got here. I'm here to break it down for you.
Break it down.
The reason why most Americans call it soccer is because of the Brits. This is a British word. We can blame them instead. It came from a British university back in the 1800s, when at the time there was two football associations coming up, or two football sports coming up at the time: rugby and association football. And the British would use slang terms they would add an ER to the end of things, to end of words. Is just a version of slang, so they shorthanded. They shortened rugby to rugger,
Okay.
And then they shortened association football to association, or just associ, ASSOC. And then they shortened that even more to soccer, to sock, and then added the ER to it. And that's how we got soccer. So it's a shorten of association football, which the ASSOC is just shorten it down to soccer.
Okay.
So the Brits are the reason why we got soccer. And by the time it come over to America, we already had our own football, real football. So that's why we just kept the term soccer.
And they love shaming us.
And they shame us. And,
And
it's
they
the
love
Brits
shaming
one
us.
did this to us.
We have deep sense of shape. It's called footy. And it's like, bitch, you're the one who gave us the fucking name
y'all call
soccer,
it soccer. We're true to this.
Fucking audacity, dog.
Yeah, so now that's why it's called soccer.
Soccer. Football. I mean, I find it weird calling it football, to be honest with you. I know Spanish when I'm speaking in Colombia, sure, like football. I'm gonna go football, sure.
Yeah.
But like to say it in English, it just sounds weird to me.
Yeah, because soccer is just you know what we're talking about.
I mean, I grew up calling it soccer my whole life too.
Yeah, because if you say football in America, you don't. Come on, it's only. Come on now.
It is America where football is bigger than soccer.
Yeah. Now I know outside of America when I get out there and
I'm
speaking Spanish or Portuguese to my friends, then I have to start saying American football.
Eu falo português. That's what it is right there, dog.
Yeah. Sim.
Oh man. All right. Mine is completely irrelevant to anything we talked about. It has nothing to do with shame. It has nothing to do with the World Cup. It's just going back to science. And reality is I was kind of just like, what fun fact could I think about? But I was actually listening to a podcast last week where I was like, I've known this. I'm pretty sure people know this, but I'm like, but people really know this? So obviously, I think I told you I listened to Neil deGrasse Tyson's Star Talk.
Yep.
And he does every few episodes, he does an explainer episode where he just goes in with his co-host Chuck Nice and he just explains something sciencey that most people again think they know, but they don't really know.
Yeah.
And so it was around like the atmosphere itself.
Okay.
And what it's comprised of, what the gases are that it's comprised of.
Oh, okay.
Because you start thinking about the atmosphere, and it's like, well, what do you think the atmosphere is mostly comprised of? What would you say?
Carbon dioxide, nitrogen, oxygen.
I mean, those are the three right there. Good job.
Oh.
Good job. Those are literally the three. But, like, which is the most abundant in the atmosphere?
Nitrogen. Wild guess.
No, that was correct. Most people would say oxygen. They're like, what do you mean? It's oxygen. It's because we breathe oxygen.
Yes.
And the reality is, no, nitrogen is 78% of the Earth's atmosphere.
Yes.
70%. So I've known this since high school, but the reality is that most people don't.
Yep.
Next is oxygen. It's around 21%.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the third one is argon, very rare, which is 0.93%. And then the next one is carbon dioxide, which is 0.04%.
Okay.
Is what comprises of the actual atmosphere, which is also interesting because, again, you think, well, we breathe oxygen, whatever the case is. Well, you know what breathes in nitrogen and spits out oxygen?
Plants
and trees.
NPK. If you know your boy got a green thumb over here.
Oh, this guy right here. That's why his name is Herb, like the herbs.
Yeah, you know, I might know those things about some NPK over here. But yeah, that's nitrogen.
We've got over 3 trillion trees on the planet. Mm-hmm. So obviously they're going to need more nitrogen than we. Yeah, so they breathe in the nitrogen and the carbon dioxide, and then they breathe out oxygen.
Yes. And we breathe in the oxygen, breathe out
on the carbon dioxide. Right. Yep. And so that's essentially how it works. So I just thought it was interesting because I don't know if people actually.
That's crazy. I didn't know. I guess I wouldn't have known how they were to cut up into the atmosphere, but that is
78%. Yeah. Going back to the actual atmosphere, I think the atmosphere sounds like this whole big, like, grandiose wall that protects us. No, it's a thin layer of fucking molecules. Is the actual atmosphere.
We say that, and I really don't know. Yeah, because we always, especially when we talk about like coming into the atmosphere, but like I don't know, like when you say thin, how thin are we speaking?
That's a great question. Let me look it up here. What's the thin layer? Because I don't have it here. How thin is the atmosphere? It says it right there. 7 miles compared to the Earth that's 24,000 miles.
Okay. Yes.
So 7 miles, bro. You
can go through that so fast when you talk about the speeds.
So the exit speed.
Yep.
In order to gain exit velocity off the planet to defeat gravity, it's 7 miles per second. So it would take you 1 second to go through the atmosphere.
Oh, okay.
7 miles seems thick, but if we're talking about the grand scheme of the actual atmosphere of the planet, the diameter and the circumference is 24,000 miles.
Yeah.
It's the same way as saying, like, if you were a giant and you brush your finger across the surface of the Earth, you would never feel you wouldn't even feel Mount Everest.
Yes.
And Mount Everest is 6 miles high.
Right.
So the atmosphere is 1 mile thicker than Mount
Oh,
Everest.
hell yeah.
So it's actually really, 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 really thin.
Yeah.
It's not really thin. But the atmosphere protects us from the Earth's UV rays.
Yes.
So the UV rays are the rays that can cause like cancer,
Right.
those harmful UV rays.
Yep. Blocks
and then
a lot
we have
of-
another layer of protection.
Yeah.
Earth's magnetic field.
I don't
magnetic
understand
field
how that even works.
comes from the churning of the core of the Earth, because the core of the Earth is iron, liquid iron, and it turns, and that causes an electromagnetic field.
Oh.
That goes from the poles all the way
Yeah.
across, and that protects us from the sun's gamma ray radiation.
Oh, okay.
Radiation.
That's what like I've been listening to a lot of I've been listening to several documentaries on Apollo 11 and 13, and they talk about like once you don't think about the radiation that you're exposed to once you get outside of our atmosphere.
We don't have once we get outside of our atmosphere and the electromagnetic sphere, which is very protective. Those two things, which are pretty much like chance, like it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's chance probabilities that we even have those things going on, and that's the only reason why there's life on Earth.
Yes.
Like without the electromagnetic sphere, without the atmosphere, there would be no life on Earth. The sun would literally strip and kill every creature, every living thing on this planet if it wasn't for those thin little things.
Yes.
Thin little layers, thin little pieces of whatever
That's
you want to call it that
crazy.
protects us, bro. It's fucking wild. Like the chances of us being alive,
Yeah, that is just crazy.
of
Like
us being a thing, it's all perfect happenstance.
yes.
So anyways, that's a couple of facts for you.
Man. You learn about soccer. Now you know what's in the air, and a little bit of shame here.
You
and
know
there.
about our shames.
We kind of went into some good shameful
Yeah, we did.
moments there. We'd love to hear some feedback on that. But
Please do.
man,
As always,
again,
episode 20 in the books. Herb, appreciate it, bro.
we did it again.
Peace.
Peace.